Hello, this is Pixie, did another video. I had a strange experience in the morning. I saw the moon, and the moon basically was at a bit of more of an angle, an exaggerated angle that it normally be at. And I did a bit of inquiring. It's called, someone come back to me with something actually, called vibration. And it's to do with the oscillation of the moon, and said it was a bit more of an extreme angle. However, I haven't seen it like that angle before. Sometimes you also get atmospheric distortions and other things, so it doesn't sort of surprise me. You know, sometimes things vary a little bit. It's a bit like sunset. The sun, you know, is huge anyway, but the size of it changes drastically. So we can't really pick up what's really going on. If we can get out of there now. Just let them out. Lovely. Yeah. Look at the road. A bit wild, the traffic tonight. It's Friday night, that's the way it usually is. Anything else? Let's see. I think mood eating, something to be aware of, with things like fasting. But like earlier on in the day, I had my morning meal quite early. The only issue with that is, it's left me feeling emotionally quite sensitive. So what I probably will do is just eat something to bind over the hunger. I mean, I don't have to eat heavy, or I eat something that's more carnivore. So I'm not going to eat anything that's going to spike me insulin. But there's other issues as well, other things that I've been thinking about, and that's often people talk about. The lights change. They talk about insulin being high, and that once it's high, it causes inflammation and other things, and you can't, you basically won't lose any calories. But I think there's also the thing about inflammation, and there's other hormones involved. So some foods will cause reactions where they cause you to inflammation at different levels. This is why there's issues around, I think, certain vegetarian foods are a bit like that, because the plants produce toxins, or they have certain toxin elements about them, which is to basically prevent them being completely decimated. Now you know the story of the dodo. I mean, basically it had no defence. It was a sort of quite a docile animal, and it got massacred when the humans turned up with no concept of farming. They just saw this delicious food and they started eating it. There's some similar things with turtles as well. So the problem is, it has no biological defence. It tastes nutritious, and when you eat something that tastes good, your body knows it, and so your body makes a kind of like a little reference in itself, and so you're more attracted to it. So you eat the food even more. It becomes like, oh, this tastes great, and it's sort of dopamine high. Now the other thing is, when you eat a food you really like, is that you're not going to find, you weren't going to be so satiated with the food, so you're going to want to eat more. This is why people get obese, because they gouge on food, like the sugar highs and stuff. They're chasing that kind of dragon, the food dragon in essence, which is no different, because food is also dips into the world of sort of like drugs, isn't it, in essence, because it creates the hormonal chemicals that your body sort of responds to, receptors in it, and also as you break down the food, you'll get certain energy from that food, and that causes certain effects on the body. So some of the plants have different types of natural biotoxins that they use. They use not as a massive defence system, but they come with the plant. And then some of them are like the psychotoxins and things, so there would be, you can use them as medicines, but at some point they would go beyond that and could have some more permanent, darker effects on the mind or the health of the individual. So it's good when it's carefully sort of processed things. What can kill you can heal you, and what can heal you can kill you, which is the way of the Western medicine as well. So there's no difference there. But as a result, it can cause inflammation, and there's also they have certain toxins designed to fight against the bacteria, so they've got their own inbuilt system. And when you've got crumbs, create some space for him. It's coming from the outside into the inside. It's not really an option, but we'll let them in. So yeah, they fight off certain bacteria as well. Some of them feed certain bacteria, some bacteria attract to certain types of food, but they also can feed the bad ones as well. So it's sometimes bringing balance by abstaining, and the main thing, if you're looking to lose weight, or you just want to basically normalise your body, that's what it is. Whatever your normal is a genetic set, and it will be to do with what's your DNA has got programmed into it, and once you activate certain genes because you change your diet, if you abstain, your body says what's going on, and so it's trying to look at ways to patch yourself up and fix any issues there. And as a result, it causes sort of gene stimulation. And the same for your bacteria in your stomach. If a toxin's removed or a food source, say it feeds on a certain type of starch, it's not present there, it will break down other things. It will start to adapt. It may actually turn more kind of aggressive towards yourself. This is why some people say it's about detoxing. It could be that the actual bacteria has a normal life cycle, and when it's deprived of a certain life cycle, it tries to ramp up its metabolism and reuse other bacteria as it breaks down. And when you have a bacteria imbalance, it creates a certain sickness. So these things, as they're out of tune, they cause that. Also, some bacteria and viruses and so on access the body, and so they access the immune response system in the stomach. So they try to play around with that. They can have a direct nerve feed, basically. They cause the chemical reactions in the nerves, so they can dull down responses. This is the issue when we have removed your bacteria, is that you might have other inflammatory dispositions and problems. It's just because of the absence of something that we relied on has caused that kind of effect, basically. And there's also a kind of symbiotic relationship with things that live in your body, and even including viruses as well. That's why some viruses are in people that are kind of dormant. Some are more dominant active, and maybe they're not having an effect on the host, but they could affect somebody else and spread to them. There's stories about Typhoid Mary. It's worth looking into that. And I think to have this kind of relationship with things in the body isn't unfamiliar, but probably not typhoids. However, it highlights the possibility for an immunity to things, and also the chemical response for viruses and bacteria. If you have a like-for-like virus, so you have something with a similar makeup for it, it will have issues with it. It's, say, like a cousin or only a type of virus because they use the same kind of chemical response. So it must be tuned into the other genes. So they form a web. So when people get ill, they get sick and they get symptoms, it's likely that the virus is spreading through the system, but it's not without contact in its sort of other parts of itself. So it may be remotely operating, but in essence the one virus is all tapped in together, and it probably uses some sort of chemical transmission, and there may be some other things as well in more the esoteric, but it has a synergy with its other virus. That's why when a virus goes on the attack, it's all attacking. It's not. I mean, some of it might be dormant, but it's likely that it's reacting, and it comes from some sort of host cell or something. So anyway, so this is sort of interesting biology and things I'm thinking about. So coming back to fasting, is that it's not just the insulin. There's other components in there, and so it could be that you've eaten a lot of veg, and maybe you want to shift into if you're vegan, vegetarian, there may be other options out there, but it might be a difference. Say for instance, like you might get more inflammation from fruit than if you eat some sort of green veggies, or maybe the colours of vegetables, or there might be ways you process it. If you cooked it, it may become more toxins may be released, because it may be that there's certain inedible qualities within the food, like you've got certain fibres that can only be broken down by your stomach. I think I mentioned before, bananas, if they're green, I find it hard to eat them. I just don't have the extra bacteria or whatever's in my stomach, how I process it, so I'm most likely it just fly through me basically. But if I cooked it would probably be a different story, and if it's overripe, I quite like them. I'm attracted to them when they're overripe because of the way my biology is. I mean, I can alter that, but I don't necessarily need to if I don't actually have a consistent diet with, like green bananas. I mean, same with like potatoes. I could eat a potato, maybe it's gone off a bit more in the essence that it's overripe, and things like that, which for some people might find it more harsher on their digestion. So we're all different. But it also plays into the fasting as well. What works for one doesn't necessarily work for everybody else. But yeah, it's worth looking at the things. What causes you inflammation? And you can see this by weight gain, weight loss. This is why people have 1 meal a day. They don't necessarily lose a lot of weight once they get to a certain weight. Anyways, big sign up. As we see.